just one. Yeah, but yours is
You want to do mine?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we heard today about how David invited Mephibosheth to the table. So,
I'm just gonna.
I can just do it like this. Is that okay right
Yeah,
now?
no, that's fine.
Okay. So we are going to set a table and have a feast while we do our review game. So we're going to divide into 2 teams. And the suggestion is don't spend too much time trying to divide up into 2 teams. You just tell them, this side is team 1, this side is team 2. Don't do 1, 2, 1, 2, because then they have to move around. Or, you know, the front table is team 1, back table is team 2. Don't take too much time. And we're going to set the table. So I'm going to do my quickie set the table. And I have this available in PDF. So I can, you know, send it to Rosa and she can send it to you. Let's see if I know how to set a table. Maybe I don't even know how to set the table properly. I always mess up where the napkin goes. Okay. And there, and fork goes on this side, right? Okay. Ooh.
Okay, guys, while she's doing that, I'll tell you how you set the table and how you teach your kids. Okay, the right side has how many letters? Right. 5. What has 5 in it? Glass, spoon, and
Knife.
okay, the left side has how many?
4.
What has 4?
Interesting.
Okay, see, she did it right.
Oh, thanks. All right. Okay, so the thing is this. You're going to explain to the kids that each item has a special value, but I'm not going to tell you what the value is until after the game is over. So when team 1 answers correctly, someone can come up and either move one of their items to team 2 side, or you can take something from team 2 and move it to your side, okay? And then when we're done answering the questions, we're going to add up the points and let you know who the winner is. So it's in our book, just to let you know. Napkins are 5 points, plates are 3, cups are 2, forks are -3, spoons are -2, and butter knives are -1. But you're not going to tell them till the end of the game, right? So that's the idea there. And here is the table that you set for Mephibosheth. Okay?
Right, and if you're like me, you don't give any minus, you just give.
Ah.
But I mean, it's up to you.
Okay.
You know, I would give all positive just
Okay.
because I'm.
You just
Oh, let's get it.
take from the other side and just look at the pictures and see how many
Why do you
more.
not tell them?
I
Oh, you can write it on the
You
back.
don't tell them the points till the end.
Yeah.
Why?
You
I have some
gotta
kids
know
that
how
choose
many
points,
points.
want to know the point.
Yes, but you can't because see, then
Then they'll
the whole point
know.
is you move something over, and so then at the end you have the ones of different colors, and then you add them all up. So at the end, see that these are on that side, and
Yeah.
you know, like there's 2 plates on this side, and you know, so like this. So now you know they don't know that, but like, oh, this was, you know. Oh, there's no points on the back.
No, I didn't write it on the back of the this one's
Yeah,
but you
all right.
can,
But that's the reason. Does you guys get the concept? Yeah.
yeah. And they might assume that because the plates are bigger, it's worth more points, so you could actually
Yeah.
make it with less points so that they don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say that this is a lovely game. It's one that we haven't played before, so it's really great and creative and absolutely fabulous. The other thing is you all have pictures of your little kids, and so, you know, then you can just have them come up and choose, and there's numbers, of course, on the back. And split it. So anyway, there's that game too. All right. Now, the one last story I told at the end, and then after this we have one more thing that's very, very wonderful.
What's the
And,
game with the kids?
Huh?
What's the game with the kids?
Okay, this one is, all right, we have 2 teams. The first team answers a question, comes up and picks one. And if they're taking a long time picking, I just start saying 1, 2, and of course they don't know how far I'm going to count. Of course I don't either, how long. But I mean, so, you know, so anyway. And so like, okay, then they say 300. So then we put it over here because that's that side. Then the next team comes up and they pick 1. Oh, well, 300 again. And then, you know, they pick 1. Oh, 800. And of course it's too small for you, so I have the kids tell what the numbers are. Oh, a number 300. And you know, then 700. And then 500. 500, and then I'm trying to get some over here, 600, and then so then we just do it. And so then the way I count up the points in the end is I will. And one time I did this, and one of the little girls says, well, we would have won if you hadn't taken away our points. So yesterday in class, I said, okay, does everybody know the concept that if we take an even number away from both sides, it's going to remain the same? So they said yes. So then I find a 600 here and a 600 here, and I take that off, and I find let's see, there's a 300 and a 300, and I take that off, and so there's no more matching. So then I add them up. So I let them up. So what's 400 and 300? And 500? 1200. Okay. What is 7 and 7?
14.
And 8?
Oh.
Ooh. You know what, guys? This team over here, we are such good losers. We're going to clap for them. We're going to smile. All right, let's just give them a big hand. All right. And so that's just how that game is played. But they have to answer the question. All right.
Do you have copies of those little faces?
Do you know what? I do, but we give out faces now that are so much nicer. It's in fact, in your packet, everybody gets these kinds of faces. And so you can just go ahead and use these and put numbers on the back of these. Some of them have on the back. Unfortunately, I used a black marker and it kind of came through a little bit, but yeah.
Okay.
So you all have these faces.
Every club who had taught this may have some kind of
Yeah.
faces that you can use.
Right, and in the packets that we give with all the stuff, we have 2 sheets of faces that we give out. So we know that you have that. All right. And so then I ended the club by saying, there was well, let me start out first of all. There was a man, and he had a son, and he was a very, very, very wealthy man. And so he and his son both loved art. So they would search out these great art pieces, and they would buy them, and they loved their collection. Well, Vietnam War came along, and so the son went to war. And I'm not sure quite how long he was at war, but it came back word that he had been killed in battle. And the man was very, very, very sad about that. But about 8 months afterwards, there was a knock on the door, and there was a young man, and he was a soldier, and he says, I knew your son. In fact, your son died saving my life. And the day that he died, he saved the lives of about 12 other men too. And he says, I'm not a good artist. I knew you had an art collection. He would talk about it. But he says, I drew a picture of him. And it's I know it's not the quality or anything, but he says, I thought you might like to have it. Well, it was just a wonderful picture of his son. And the man, he was so thankful. And he just put that picture then right in the place of honor where he could always see it. And he would spend hours just looking at the picture of his son. Well, the day came that the man died. But there wasn't anybody to inherit his art collection. His son had died. And so they were going to have an auction. And so the fact that he had really unbelievable art. And it was known far and wide. And so they were having the auction. And so the auctioneer gets up, and everybody's really excited about all these paintings. I mean, there just isn't the opportunity to buy them. And the auctioneer says, we're going to auction off the son. And they said, no, that's worthless. Get to the others. And he says, no, it says right here in the will that the picture of the son must be auctioned first. And the men out there just said, get on with it, come on. And they said, anybody? And nobody bid anything. Well, then there was a gardener in the back. He was an old gardener that had been with the family for years. And he didn't think he could buy anything, so he says, $10. And the auctioneer said, 20. No, nobody bid. Just sell it, sell it. So finally, the auctioneer said, sold to the old man in the back. And so then the auctioneer puts down his gavel. And they said, but what about the others? And he says, well, it says right here in the man's will that whoever takes the picture of the son gets it all.
Oh.
And so he says it all goes to the old gardener. They're not going to be auctioned off. And you know what? That is what Jesus says, God says too, isn't it? You take my son, I'm giving you all of my riches. You become joint heirs with him. Who does a parent give their money to? Their children. You become one of God's children. You become, and God wants to give you his riches. All right, now you know what? We have some very creative people. Please, if you do something that let us know. So we have someone right now that's going to show us some amazing props. You know what? If she just had the internet, Ruth, I think, is the only one that doesn't have email. If she was just on the email, she would make a video of this. It would be, and how to yourself.
Go sit down.
Oh, no, come on. This is Ruth. Ruth, how many years have you taught with us?
I see they're 14 or 15.
Will you stand right over here so we get a good, and you tell us now.
Okay, I asked to talk this morning because I wanted to push props. Mary Ann last week when she was telling the story, remember she had that nice sword in her hand? She didn't say it, but I'm saying it for you. I have a nice one very much like that. You can get a sword like that. I got mine at one of the party stores. They have those things inexpensive. I'm sure you could probably find some of the kids sections of when they have the plastic things. You can buy things that way. I also have a raven that I got at the party store. When we get to Isaiah and he was fed by the ravens by the stream, it's great to have a raven to stick up there. This last Halloween at the 99-cent store, they had some real nice ravens. They're not expensive. The other thing is that you don't have to pay full price. I'm cheap. Sorry, but I'm cheap. You can go to the thrift store. They have lovely baby dolls. You don't have to get the first time. You don't see one, go to a different store, wait. That stuff's in and out. You can get a lovely little baby doll. You make a T-shaped piece of material, cut a hole in the top, take some of the extra material, braid it, put that T-shirt over the baby, tie it around the lap. You now have baby Moses, or it could be Jesus, whichever one you want to use it for. It's good to have a stash of props. The kids like them. That's why I like to do it. Okay, this last week I looked around but hadn't found it, and I had this stuff that happens at the last minute. I wish it wasn't, but it does. And I wanted to have, this was going to be where David is coming back, and the ladies say, Saul killed his thousands, David killed his 10,000s. Well, I would like a timbrel, and they said that. I didn't have a timbrel, but I had soup for lunch. And so I took the can and I went, that sounds pretty good. So after lunch, tore off the paper. I have a junk collection of old jewelry. So I went out, I remembered, because I had been there for something else, and I remembered these earrings, which I was considering, could I reuse them? I said, definitely not, but they're metal. So I took a nail and I punched a hole through 2 places. I took it's on a hanger, it's, for ears. I found the pliers, clipped it. Now I could dance. Now, I'm a silly old lady, but the kids remember. They'll remember that the people said 1,000 for Saul, 10,000 for David. That's what's important. Another thing that I encourage you to do is everybody needs a spear. Now, a spear, if you notice, this spear is just an old broom handle. All this is a plastic bottle. It's for you who are perfectionists, you're going to have a problem with this. I am not a perfectionist. Remember these words. It's good enough. It does not have to be perfect. All this is a plastic bottle. I split it so I could put it together. It's staples. Some of them are falling out. This is an old spear. I sprayed it with silver paint. I think every teacher should have a can of spray silver paint, a can of gold paint. If you take some old plastic ware and you spray it silver or gold, you are ready for the temple or you're ready for a palace. Now, when I go like this, and Saul's going to think, the children are going to remember it. That's the point. Now, is it totally convincing? Well, I'm going to give you the proof that it is. class was over, Vera and I worked together. She and I had walked out together. We got out, our class is over at 4, but it's closer to 4:30 by the time we get out of there. And it's starting to get dark. We walked together. She parked closer to the school. She went to her car. I walked on down and got to my car. And so she was already rolling. I'm still loading my car. She comes by me. She rolls her window down and she says, I know you're okay because you got your spear with you. So that's proof enough for me.
Thank you, Ruth. That was amazing. Please, and then, yeah, look ahead now, and if there's any props you can think of before. Do you guys know that one time we gave you those kind of plastic bags? Did anybody get one of those? You know, they were very light, and they were, you know what I'm talking about. They were like about this. Yeah, just take one of those and have that be your prop place.
Oh no, it'll never hold it all.
Oh, you know what? Just, get an architect, change the roof, pour concrete, make another room. Okay. All right, is there anything else? All right. Oh, yes, please, Vera.
I'm sorry I got here late, otherwise I would have introduced my granddaughter. I know a lot of you were praying for her. This is Brookie. Hi, Brookie.
Hi,
This is
Brooke.
Brookie, and she was in the hospital with respiratory problems. And so I want to thank you for all your prayers. Thank you.
Brookie, how are you feeling now? Good. Good. All right. How long were you in the hospital? Huh?
Say thank you for praying for me.
Thank you for praying for me. You are so welcome. Oh, thank you for coming today. We were delighted to have you.